You're listening to Reviving Kanehsatake Radio on RKR 101.7 FM in partnership with the PINES reporter from Eastern Door. We're building a community media hub to strengthen Indigenous storytelling and reporting here in Kanehsatake. Today I'm joined by PINES reporter journalist Hadassah Anclair and Fern Marmot. I'm your host, Michelle Daoust, and welcome to the show, Hadassah and Fern. How are you today?
We're doing pretty good. It's so great to be here.
Perfect. So first, I would like to talk a little bit about the Kanehsatake powwow up and coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is this year's powwow looking like so far?
So for the second year in a row, a group of all women volunteers is organizing the powwow. And the powwow is like last year. It'll be a traditional powwow. Okay. Basically, that means no competitions. And instead, the event will feature like important cultural traditions. And there will be a lead man and a lead woman leading the dances. For the organizers, it's so important to keep the powwow traditional because they consider it a better way to pass down traditional knowledge and practice to the next generation. Kristen Cree, one of the co-organizers of the Kanehsatake powwow, said, "There's certain things you must do when you're doing a powwow that are mainly ceremonial and through medicines." This is, of course, the traditional powwow. And there's also a sacred fire that's lit, and there's a fire keeper that takes care of it. So there are many things that will be done throughout the powwow that are very traditional this year.
Nice. Now, is there anything new coming to the powwow this year?
Yes. This year's powwow is going to get a big upgrade. There's an electrical line being installed on the powwow grounds. And so attendees of the powwow, they might not notice the difference. But for the organizers, it means no more hauling heavy generators on site and doing runs for gasoline to keep the generators going throughout the powwow. So it's going to take a huge load off the management of the event. And ultimately, it will contribute to it running smoother. For the attendees, though, one noticeable difference will be the location of the powwow. So it'll still take place at 666 St. Philemon like last year, but the powwow will actually happen on the first grassy lot. Last year, that first lot was used as parking, but now it'll be for the event. And the new parking will be the second lot at the back, which was where the powwow was last year. So it's a little bit of a switch up, but it'll that's one difference.
Okay. And what's the confirmed, what has been confirmed for the powwow this far?
Well, 4 food vendors are confirmed so far, and that includes classic Indian tacos, there's baked sweets. So 2 of the vendors are Adriana's Den and Berrylicious. There are also 27 craft vendors as well, and the organizers of the powwow say that many vendors tend to get in contact with them in the coming weeks just before the powwow, so that 27 is expected to grow. Also, there are drum groups confirmed at the powwow, lead dancers coming, and some of the logistical items have also already been set. I know that the Kanehsatake Health Center is going to be providing the wash stations, the toilets. The Kanehsatake perimeter security team is going to be doing overnight security. But I think it's important to mention the powwow organizers are still looking for more dancers, food vendors, and volunteers for the event. So those interested can reach out to the Kanehsatake Traditional Powwow Facebook page.
Wow, thank you so much. All right, and Fern. So Fern, you went and checked on the Kanehsatake Health Center's summer camp at the farm. How are the campers doing there?
Yeah, so I had the lovely opportunity to get a tour of the camp on Tuesday. I didn't include this in my article, but the campers were doing an amazing race activity that day. And they were actually so dedicated to winning that the campers wouldn't give me any time to interview them. They were just like locked in. So I actually had to go back the next day to speak with the campers. But the campers really seem to enjoy the space. There's a very predictable schedule that the youth seem to really love. They get to camp knowing what their day looks like, and that's a day of activities and fun.
Oh, sweet. And what does the average day look like at the summer camp?
So the first kids start arriving at 7:45, and then afterwards, whenever the parents are able to drop them off, they have to get signed in at the kiosk, drop off their bags. Then they go to the camp's activity field, and then throughout the rest of the day, groups of campers move from activity station across the farm. Each group of campers cannot move to the next station unless all of the youth are accounted for, and then the staff kind of coordinate that transition from activities through walkie-talkies. The kids spend the entire day outside, rain or shine, and the only exception is that if there is a risk of thunderstorm. And it was mentioned that last year all of the kids were constantly complaining about having to be outside, they don't want to be here. And then this year, staff noticed a huge change, and then the kids are actively really excited to be there and spend the day outside.
Oh, that's nice.
I know, it was really cool.
Yeah, I bet.
Each day basically has the same structure. The schedule is pretty flexible to changes. The second day I went, due to the heat, everyone was spending the afternoon swimming in the pond.
Nice. That's some good childhood memories there. Yeah, for sure. So you got to speak with one of the campers' coordinator, Amy Lee Hannenberg. What did she have to tell you about how the camp is evolving?
Yes, so speaking of swimming at the pond, a huge improvement this year for the camp was that the pond was completely redone. It was dredged and cleared of all potentially dangerous debris, sand was brought in to create a beach, and it has now become a really important swimming hole for the campers.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a really gorgeous space. I'm a little jealous,
I was
actually.
going to say, can we go?
I was like, we should have an adult summer camp.
I'm in.
Yeah. Hannenberg said that a really important part of the pond is that it works as a recreational space, but also is still usable by the farm itself. She also spoke to me about how this is the second year that the summer camp is at the farm. They are constantly improving things. The staff have regular meetings on what is working and what isn't working, and what they can do to improve.
Wow. So you got a chance to speak with one of the campers, and what did they have to say?
Yeah, so I got the opportunity to speak with 7-year-old Alex Tomlinson. He was lounging in the hammock beside the pond, and like most youth, he was a bit shy when I interviewed him. But when I asked him if he feels like coming back to camp each year is helping grow his confidence, he replied that he already is confident. I thought that was very charming.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
His favorite activities at the camp is swimming at the pond and sitting in the hammock, obviously. And it doesn't really seem like a surprise, as all of the kids seem to enjoy spending that. It was Tomlinson's second year at the camp, and he told me that he's made lots of friends at the camp and really likes all the staff that work there. And when I asked him if he was looking forward to going back to school or going back to camp next year, his immediate response was camp.
I think I'd be in the same boat.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you so much for that. So I just wanted to go back to you, Hadassah. I see that you've had an opportunity to speak with people in regards to the Oka Hudson Ferry. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the ferry has had a lot of delays in opening, right? And it's definitely been a turbulent time for the company. So I did a story last month on why the ferry had delayed the opening for the season for so long. And the ferry told me that many of the things that led to this delay. He said when he first bought the business in 2024, there were many issues that had to be resolved that he wasn't expecting, like mechanical, paperwork, things like that. And this year, the owner, Philippe Daoust, took over the management of the ferry business. And a lot of the work that had been scheduled to get done, he said, did not get done. So over the past few months, he's had to focus on completing a lot of the paperwork, dealing with staffing challenges, fixing mechanical issues, and making operational changes to comply with Transport Canada standards. So last month when I did the story, he said he thought the ferry would open in the next couple weeks, but ultimately they did not, as we all know. And he said that was because it was hard to find credentialed staff to operate the ferry boat. They needed more people with different credentials that they weren't expecting. They finally found them. So it opened this week.
Wow. Okay. But there was an event announced last week about the ferry. What was that all about?
Okay. So last week, the ferry company publishes this Facebook post, right, on July 29th. And the owner, Philippe, is organizing this event, and he invites the public to a meeting at the ferry, the Oka Ferry here, on July 31st. So that's an invitation for an event that'll happen 2 days later, okay? And he said it was meant to share with the public in person what's been going on regarding the ferry business, why these delays have happened. And about 70 people that come to the event would take part on a free sunset ferry ride along the Ottawa River. This Facebook post racked up almost 500 comments. Okay, there was definitely pushback from the public as to why more information wasn't given before and why it wouldn't be provided online. You know, it was for the only people who went there in person. Many also questioned the lack of communication in general from the business, which hasn't posted much about the situation. And I spoke to an Oka resident who did say as much. It's been difficult for the public to handle the delay and be so in the dark, she said.
That makes sense. But the ferry is now finally opened. Is it really open for good, or?
So according to the owner, Philippe, it is for good. I did actually hear, this total side note, that some people thought the ferry was closed yesterday, but it actually wasn't, according to the owner. I think what happened is that there's only one ferry boat operational at the moment, which some people don't know about. So it's going back and forth. And that makes a limited capacity in how many people can go, and obviously the boat coming back and forth. Even though they installed a faster turbine, it will mean less trips for now. But Philippe, the owner, said the other boat, there's 2 boats in the business, might be on the water transporting people sometime very soon, maybe even next week. But of course, that remains to be seen. However, I do think it's important to mention some upgrades and changes that may be coming in the future that I think would be interesting for the community. So there's a new website in the works where people will be able to buy the ferry tickets online. Right now, it's a lot of paper. So that'll be useful.
For sure.
And in the future, Philippe is also considering expanding the ferry business to offer a touristic boating experience along the Ottawa River.
That's nice.
And he also said, and I'm leaving the best for last, is that something very interesting for the Kanehsatake community. Again, this is in the works, on the drawing board, but he's considering offering a discount for community members of Kanehsatake. He said it would be a gesture of recognition. It's about extending a hand, a sign of appreciation for the community. Whether it's possible, it's unknown. But he is working on it, and I was informed that he is in contact with the Mohawk Council of Kanehsatake about it.
Wow, that's really some good information. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And now back to you. Sorry. The other story this week was the other story you had this week on the 8-week T-ball training program that Kanehsatake Health Center is facilitating. Can you tell me more about that and what this program is?
Yeah, so the program is every Wednesday for 45 minutes, obviously for 8 weeks, with 4 to 7-year-olds starting at 5 p.m. and then 8 to 11-year-olds starting at 6 p.m. The program is designed to get youth outside and learning the basics of baseball and softball, so they're more encouraged to continue on the sport. Besides hockey, this is the first time that the health center has done an 8-week training program for a sport.
Wow. Okay, so Selena Bova is one of the organizers for the program. What did she have to say about the challenges of the program?
So she spoke to me, and kind of the biggest challenge is just keeping the attention of the younger participants. Just because they're so young, she told me that they have to make sure that they're running in the right direction and they're hitting the ball, which is why the program is only for 45 minutes. And another way to tackle that is that there will be stations for the youth to switch to, keeping them engaged and active in the program. Beauvais also mentioned that attendance could be an issue, as it's pretty usual for a long program like that for people to drop out at the end. But parents are welcome to reach out to enroll their kids if they haven't already.
And you spoke with Jaden Lauder, the Child Youth Program Coordinator, at the KHC. And what did she say inspired the program?
So Lauder told me that Beauvais, her, and some other staff were just talking about how the community wasn't really using the baseball field in the Pines, and that perhaps this program will help bring more people into using the space.
Oh, absolutely.
She shared with me the sentiment that the field is a really lovely recreational space, and hopefully that if more people use it, there will be kind of more of an active presence and a community responsibility in keeping that space in good shape.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. And I'm back to you now, Hadassa.
Yeah.
So you had another subject. So the Oka Inn got a whole renovation. What happened there?
Well, a lot is modernized inside of the Oka Inn right now. And there was just a flurry of fixes, renovations since February that was, been done over the last few months. I spoke with Ronald Jr., RJ McCumber, the owner of McCumber Homes, who did the construction work. And he told me that they gutted the entire thing down to the studs.
Oh, wow.
They pretty much did everything, and he called it almost like a new cabin.
Okay.
So community members that go there will notice from the outside the new wood batten siding lining the exterior. It used to be this blue tin.
Oh, okay.
Inside, the walls were done, the ceiling was done, the floor was done, the kitchen has been replaced. They've done some work to the stairs as well.
Oh,
and
my.
internally, the structure was also fixed up. So the foundation and the structural beam as well was parts of it were replaced, and I think the structural beam was fully replaced. So it's going to go hopefully for many, many more years now. I know it's a very, very old cabin, and so this was all done in the hopes of keeping it, together and available for the community for decades to come.
So what are some of the things that have stayed the same?
Well, that was something that was very important to council and also to the construction team at McCumber Homes to keep what they could in the cabin, because obviously it is a very sentimental, it's a historical value for the Kanehsatake community and is sentimental to a lot of members. And so what they could, they kept. I know that part of the tin roof was used for the outhouse. There's also, they kept some of those valuable or useful or reusable materials on site. So for the community to, I think they'll be able to take it. And whatever they could keep, they did keep inside. And so, for example, there's this wood stove oven that will remain there. It is the vintage stove oven of the cabin. They were able to keep it there and just do some
work around it.
Yeah. And the location of the windows also remains the same, although the windows are bigger now and they're new windows, so that is allowing more light inside.
Oh, nice.
There's also a fun side note. Old newspapers were used to insulate the cabin before, and so as they were going through it, there were some of the newspapers that were actually in pretty good condition.
Oh, wow.
And so RJ made this really cool looking frame where he framed some of the old 50s newspapers that was lining the wall, and now it's a decoration for the cabin.
That's really good, because you're kind of keeping the old and bringing in the new at the same time, right?
Exactly.
So that's impressive. Absolutely. And when are the renovations done?
Well, excitingly enough, it's done this week.
Oh, wow.
So they've completed everything in the house. They're actually doing the cleanup now. There's still some things to be cleaned up, and I know that the members of the community who have been up there have been noticing the changes and the differences going on. And hopefully, I think it'll be ready very soon for members of the community to be able to go up there and stay in the cabin.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's really good news. It sounds like it must be just absolutely breathtaking the way you're describing it, and keeping some of the historical value is so amazing. That's fantastic. Okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, Michelle, for taking over the show. It's so appreciated during these last few weeks.
Yeah, well, it's vacation time for everyone. So, we just, as a team, we all step up and help out. And I really, really appreciate both of you for coming out today. And yeah. So before we wrap this up, is there anything you'd like me to add, Hadassa?
Actually, I think that for next week, we're writing about some of the sports teams. And I know that some of the members of the community are involved in the Quebec lacrosse team. So look out for that story coming out next week.
Nice. And Fern, did you have anything else to add today?
I just wanted to say, Michelle, you're doing a fantastic job.
You guys too. I couldn't do it without a great team to support me. So, it's definitely a combined effort, right? Thank you for that. Okay. So, pardon me. Don't forget to get this week's copy of The Eastern Door at Bayside Convenience, Mohawk Gas Bar, and Little Tree, or subscribe online at www.easterndoor.com. That was a conversation with the Pines Reporter journalists Hadassah and Claire and Fur Marmont from The Eastern Door, part of our collaboration with Reviving Kanehsatake Radio to grow Indigenous media and community reporting in Kanehsatake. For more local stories and updates, stay tuned to RKR 101.7 FM.